एक बड़ा शहर जाने के लिए टिकट दो ना।
पैसे निकाल।
ये किधर जाता है?
जा बम्बई जा यार, हीरो बन के यार।
कोई भी यकीन नहीं कर, कोई भी लड़का इधर से भाग के आके फिल्म में काम करेगा तो कोई भी यकीन नहीं कर। चलो ठीक है, अच्छा आया, मेरा बच्चा ठीक हो गया। बॉम्बे बहुत बड़ा शहर है, बड़ा समुंदर है, बड़े बड़े बिल्डिंग है। तो चलो देखेंगे, समुंदर तो देखे नहीं कभी, दरिया तो। बॉम्बे में आके बहुत धक्का खाया। तो बॉम्बे में था चर्च गेट के पास, मिनी दीदी आए तो ऐसा ड्रामा बना रहे हैं, आप लोग आना है तो आओ। जो मेरे साथ में 2 लड़के इधर से आए थे तो उनको बोला, वो सोचा चिल्ड्रन शो में डाल देते हैं, ऐसे मैडम लोग आते हैं तो चिल्लरों में पकड़ के डाल देते हैं। तो समझ के वो 2 लड़के नहीं आए तो मैं एक गया। बैरी जो ना हमारे गुरु हैं। मैं जब बॉम्बे फर्स्ट डे कमानिया हॉल में गया था तो उस टाइम पे वही थे, वही पूरा आवाज का वही जो प्रैक्टिकल जो सीखना है वो सब सीखा है। तो उस टाइम पे एक प्ले किया था मैं, अब मेरे को अभी भी याद है, रघुवीर के साथ में कमानिया हॉल में ही। तुमको भूख लग रही है तो तुम जाके एक दुकान वाले से कैसे पूछोगे? तो मैं बोला, मैं गया, सीधा गया, ए मेरा बाप डैड इधर का इंस्पेक्टर है, तो मेरे को भेलपुरी दे, ऐसा दे ऐसे दे। अरे तुम्हारे पास कुछ नहीं, तुम्हारा बाप भी नहीं, माँ भी नहीं, कोई भी नहीं, तुम कैसे जाके मांगोगे? तो एकदम दुखी से बहुत इससे जाके बहुत भूखा हूँ ऐसा ऐसा करके, तो उसके पास मांगा तो क्या हुआ कि उससे मैं सिलेक्शन हुआ कि नहीं, कि मेरे को नहीं मालूम। हम लोग को उस टाइम में तो बच्चे लोग के जैसा देखा सबने, पूरा टीम जैसा कि बच्चा ही बच्चे। फिल्म रिलीज हुई, अवार्ड्स मिल रहे थे, बहुत तारीफ चल रही थी। बाद में फिर वापस ट्राई करूँगा। एक फोटोग्राफ लेके गया नेशनल अवार्ड के बाद, मैं ऐसा हूँ अच्छे से एक्टर मिले, बोले अच्छा काम किया बस। तभी भी मेरा दिमाग ख़राब हो गया था, मैं 3 बार सुसाइड करने के लिए कोशिश किया। जब कोई भी एक आर्टिस्ट तो मैं था नहीं, तो आदमी लोग बोलता रहे यार तू नेशनल अवार्ड लेके तू बेंगलोर में और बॉम्बे में ऐसा फिर रहा, कोई चांस नहीं मिला। बहुत दफा फोटोज थे, बहुत सब कुछ था, आर्टिकल सब कटिंग करके रखा। तो एक दिन पूरा जला दिया, बहुत गुस्सा आता था मेरे अपने ऊपर, अपनी मेरी जिंदगी के ऊपर, दुनिया के ऊपर। जिधर भी जाओ उधर ही आओ। गौतम घोष ने मेरे को ढूंढ रहे थे तो उनसे जाके मिला, तो ऐसे सब हम लोग फिल्म बना रहे हैं, पतंग बोल के हैं, तो ऐसे तुम एक्ट करो क्या, ऐसा मेन कैरेक्टर। हाँ सर मैं करूँगा। जो उधर का बोली जो बोलते हैं, कड़क बोली बिहार का, तो उसके लिए 3 महीना उधर स्ट्रगल किया। तो उसके बाद उन्होंने शूटिंग स्टार्ट किया, तो उसको वो उस फिल्म में भी एक्ट किया, उसको भी अवार्ड मिला, नेशनल अवार्ड।
मोहल्ले वाले को चुप कराओ, सब तो बताता है।
चाइल्ड आर्टिस्ट का अवार्ड लेके कोई भी आगे नहीं बढ़ सकता है। मैं कुछ और रास्ता देखूं यही लाइन पे, टेक इंडस्ट्री के लाइन में ही। तो मैं सोचा 89 में कैमरा अटेंडेंट का जय स्टूडियो ज्वाइन किया। एक्चुअली बेंगलोर बहुत अच्छा प्लेस है। मैं पैदा हुआ इधर, मेरी माँ पैदा हुई इधर, मेरे बाप पैदा हुए इधर, सब पैदा इधर ही, पैदाशी इधर ही। बेंगलोर में आके स्टूडियो ज्वाइन किया इधर। नसीब है मेरा जो बालाजी टेलीफिल्म में जो कैमरा असिस्टेंट हूँ असिस्टेंट कैमरा कुछ भी वो काम कर रहा हूँ मैं उससे मैं बहुत खुश हूँ। कैमरामैन बनना है, अच्छा नाम कमाना है, नाम बनाना है, घर इम्पोर्टेंट है। बस मेरे 2 बच्चे, मेरी बीवी, मेरा फैमिली, मेरी माँ।
तो इनको देखो, इनको बताए ऐसा इन्हें देख के दूसरे लोग हमारे घर पे आए। इनको तो हमें देखे नहीं, शादी के बाद ही देखे। हमने तो इन्हें देखे थे, हमें तो नहीं।
ज़्यादा डिमांड है।
पहला बात तो एजुकेशन बच्चे को, तो तुम्हारे पैर पे तुम खुद कुछ बन सकते हो तो एक रास्ता दिखा सकते हो। सबकी जिंदगी हमारी जिंदगी ऐसा बनना बहुत मुश्किल है, लाख में क्या करोड़ में।
Actually, the only thing that I remember of Salaam Bombay during Ganapati, walking through the crowds, I can still feel the crowds. Here were these drums beating and crowds and the festivity and the loneliness and the absolute desolation. You know, all that, which is actually what I was going through as a person, and that surfaced. So sometimes these things happen. मंजू आज इधर सो जाती तो क्या? I don't think I was right for the role in that sense. I didn't look it. So much work had to go into making me look the role. And for me to feel the role, I had to work on it. But he just was. So was Raghuveer. And everybody else. I think I'm the only one who really had to work towards the role. You know? What we started with was Meera's documentary about the cabaret. So she said, you know, I want you to look like those women. So I watched and I knew what she was saying. I understood. Then I went to Kamatipura and I actually spent time with them. That is how they were. That's how they dealt with their bodies. Though of course she is different because she had a man in her, a man constantly, which was different, and those women don't have that. So you know, their whole, that's what I think I did work on, that, you know, their connection with their body is very different from how Rekha's connection would be, because at some level she had a child, she had a home, and she wasn't in that trap. A different trap, but not the trap that they were in. So, but that relationship, she had a more sensual connection with her body because she enjoyed her body with her husband.
नया मैक्स
Nana actually is that character in many ways. He has that very base sexuality, you know, very strong, powerful, but earthy sexuality. it was so simple just to react to it. She wanted to go through the entire rehearsal, which to my mind, I got to know she's very serious about her work. She knows what she's doing. It's not some flippant things that she's doing, right? So you already knew where she's coming from. She was so certain. She knew what she wanted. We had this picnic together, and in the picnic I watched a lot of these children, and I understood what was being done. So, you know, I had them without that rehearsal situation, and where they were totally free and running into the water, and I had also seen them in the rehearsal, so I knew what was happening. They were so instinctive and so emotional. There wasn't any problem connecting with them. They were so natural. It was so beautiful. They had just no coverings on themselves. They were what they were. And really, I think that was the nicest part of it. There were no designations. They were all working. And that was the only thing that strung us together, that we were working. It wasn't like she was the camera woman and he was the sound person. So those things were not there. The hierarchy or the bureaucracy of all that was not there. So it was just the whole thing of working. Everybody was working together. Like you say, that's all that they remember, partying and eating and everybody giving them hugs, and they were hugging everybody. So Meera would hug all the kids, and all the kids would hug her, and then we all had lice. She said, you know, you better use a Lysol or something. And I had lice in my... I said, Meera, I have lice. She said, don't worry, we've all got it. You know, I want to be what the director wants me to be. You know, instead of having my way, I think it's nicer, perhaps easier for me, perhaps more difficult, to completely become a color in the hand of the painter.
मेरी मम्मी जो बनी अनीता कनवर और मेरा पापा जो बना वो नाना पाटेकर। एकदम प्यार से हम लोग को सिखाए, मतलब ऐसा कोई भी किसको भी अपन बोलेंगे ना तो फटाक से मान जाएंगे ऐसा, और इतना गुस्से से भी नहीं, एकदम प्यार से हम लोग को सब आप लोग ने सिखाते थे, बोल के दिखाते थे। पढ़ने का तो हम लोग जानते नहीं थे, जब भी जो रोल का बात थे ना वो सब बताते थे हम लोग को, और बता के और कैसा एक्टिंग करने का, यहाँ से वहाँ जाओ, हम लोग को करके भी दिखाते थे वो लोग कि ऐसा करने का, फिर हम लोग ऐसा करते थे।
I wish I could be as natural as she was.
हाँ, बहुत दोस्ती हुआ। जैसे कि अनीता कनवर ने मुझे ऐसा रखा ना कि जैसे कि उनकी बेटी। हाँ, सही में। और नाना पाटेकर ने भी ऐसे रखे, और आप लोग ने भी मेरे को बहुत प्यार दिया। मेरे को जो रोल दिखाते थे वही मैं करती थी, उसके बारे में मैं समझती नहीं थी पहले। फिर बाद में मेरे को थोड़ा ये हुआ, जब भी मेरे को सब लोग बोलने लगे कि ऐसा पिक्चर का काम है, ऐसा वैसा, तेरी माँ ऐसा काम करती है, ये सब बोलने लगे, जब भी मेरे को ये लगा कि हाँ ऐसा हो। रिलीज भी हो गया, चैरिटी शो भी हो गया। सब होने के बाद हम लोग दिल्ली में भी गए चैरिटी शो करने के लिए। दिल्ली में भी घूम फिर के आए सब लोग, बहुत मज़ा किए, हवा में बैठ के गए और सब मज़ा करके आए। फिर वापस आए, फिर स्कूल में गए हम लोग। मंगनी हुई थी जब भी 17 साल की हुई, फिर शादी 1-2 साल के बाद की, 1 साल के बाद कि झगड़ा भी किया मुझे, बहुत मुझे मालूम है वो सब। आप बोल रहे थे कि शादी मत करो और मैं बोल नहीं सकती, दोनों के बीच में मैं फंस गई थी। मैं हाँ भी बोल सकती, ना भी बोल सकती, ऐसा भी हो गया था। हाँ अभी तो ठीक है, 95 में शादी और 2 बच्चे बस। हस्बैंड कंपनी में काम करता है, पेन का कंपनी। अभी खाली मैं धंधा करती हूँ अपना। हम लोग बर्तन दे के और कपड़ा लेते हैं और वो कपड़ा लेके हम लोग जमा करके 4-5 बर्तन बिकेगा ना, कपड़ा जमा करके फिर हम लोग को बेचने जाना पड़ता है। ये घर लिए जो मैंने पिक्चर में काम किया था उसका पैसा रखा था, फिर उसके बाद में ये घर वो पैसे से हम लोग लिए, बाकी थोड़ा लोन में लिए पैसा और सब आप लोग ने करा के फिर दिए। पहली बार कलर तो करना पड़ता है, गणपति हम लोग बिठाएंगे तो उसके बाद में करेंगे। सब इंसान अलग अलग भगवान को मानते हैं। मुराद पूरी हो जाती है तो उसके लिए भी भगवान को कुछ करना पड़ता है, तो अपनी इच्छा पूरी होती है, उसके लिए हम लोग ने माने। मुराद पूरी हो जाएगी, सबको नाच कूद के खिला पिला के फिर उसको करेंगे।
Meera comes from a documentary tradition, and being a photographer, that's you know, that's my inclination as well. So absolutely wanted to make it as real as possible. Hey Rani. You know, you do all this research and you have all these facts and you have all these emotions that are sort of brought up in you when you're doing the research. You take a little from here, a little from there, then you sort of mix it with imagination and it sort of comes out like this khichdi. So it's not really a documentary, it's not pure fiction either, it's somewhere in between. In fact, my kids were watching Oliver yesterday, and I studied a lot of Dickens when I was in school. Bombay, even today, is so much like that. Meera was showing her documentary, India Cabaret, and I saw it with her, with a public audience, and the reaction was so amazing. She had once seen Elizabeth Swados' play called Runaways and had an idea of doing a workshop with kids, etc., and doing something with kids. So I said, why don't we do that instead? We came here to Slater Road, down the road, and I used to hang out there with some friends, and so I knew a few people on the street there, and this guy who sold sandwiches, he introduced us to a group of kids who used to hang out at the garbage dump downstairs. So that's how we started doing our research, and that gang actually formed the basis of my script. But I did very much imagine Grant Road because I know the area very well. And these are the kids we hung out with, you know, they were at Grant Road. I think the basis of the story and the characters were in place before the workshop, and I think what was heartening for me was like taking the script to the workshop and finding out that it was sort of truthful, that the kids could relate to it, and that, you know, it wasn't really far off the mark. But the fine-tuning came with the workshop. I really do believe that it had that energy because we were all doing it for the first time. The kids, Sandy's first feature, Meera's first directorial, my first writing, you know, your first, everyone's first attempt. And I think that energy is something that can't be sort of replicated again, I don't think, you know, that kind of madness and that kind of total, you don't know what you're doing, so you're just willing to do, you know, jump in, you know, head first, feet first, whatever it takes. So I was actually on set because it was my first film, so I was there as in the role of scriptwriter as well as still photographer. And a few things changed when we were shooting that I wrote on the spot, a few scenes, like the end. The last scene was Rekha and he get separated, and then he's walking away at night, and these truck full of Ganpati revelers pass him. They're all going home. And he goes to a bridge where a lot of homeless people are sleeping, and he lies down next to someone, and a hand covers him with a tattered blanket. It's a stranger's hand. And then the camera zooms up slowly. We didn't have the time and we didn't have the money, so came up with this. And I think the top thing was Meera's idea, and it worked really, really well. So this was the real first script that I wrote. It gave me a career, absolutely. It gave me a career. I stopped photography, started writing scripts. I'll tell you, the first time I saw the film with an audience was such a high. I've never had that kind of feeling again, seeing any other film with an audience. The first time, it was in Montreal at the film festival. It was a huge theater, you know, and to see people responding and, you know, crying and laughing, it's like, you really then get the power of film, you know, and I've always felt, I've never been able to write a pure entertainer. I don't think I ever have. Music was such an integral part of this film, and I think Subramaniam's score took it to a completely different level. You know, if you saw the film without that music, I think it would be very different. So all those things, you know, really get you in the gut. And I think his music still makes my hair stand on end, because emotionally, he really translated it emotionally. So. Like Subramaniam's music, her cinematography took it to a different level, you know. What people see, you know, there's a certain seamlessness about the film, you know, and that has a lot to do with the cinematography and how it was shot and how it was conceived. And I remember the first you know, it was like trial by fire. I remember that first day of the shoot. First, we got stoned at Chapati. And then Sandy was on Tony's back at that huge Ganpati, you know, procession. It was crazy, but, you know, that's what made the film. Films can change people's perceptions to a certain degree. And I think Salaam Bombay did. Meera used to discuss stuff with me, but I think the choice was hers, and she was great at casting because I think some of the choices she made, you know, I couldn't see it before the film was made, but after it, she was brilliant at casting. For one thing, she has a vision, and she knows what she wants, but also she has good taste, and besides that, she's a real stickler for perfection in every department, so she's not going to let anything slide, ever. It's a rare talent to be a good producer as well as a good director, as well as have input for script, as well as, be very good with music, and so she has all these things that make her a really good filmmaker. I think Meera's always sort of functioned as my older sister, you know, in the sense of even though I'm older, she's sort of kind of looked after me and sort of, you know, so it's been very, very nice.
Such movies has really created a lot of sensitivity. There is need to come out this kind of a movie.
The idea came up straight after we finished the film. And it was actually Meera and Mitch's idea. And I was so enamored of the children. I was so excited by these beautiful kids who were so open-hearted and so enthralled by this learning process, which Barry John had started at the workshop, that I used the same principles to start a day center.
कृष्णा कृष्णा आता है मालिक आता है
ओ बाबा
बस चुप साला पटेला रिकॉर्ड किया मैं पतावाज करते रहता है
उस टाइम पे हमने जूस में सबसे होशियार और साना मैं था मिनी दीदी और आप मीरा दीदी हमारी बड़ी वाली इन लोग सब लोग ने पूछा क्या किया जाए तो हमारे दीदी लोग ने ये बोला क्या हाँ अपन ट्रस्ट खोलेंगे जिसमें जिंदगी भर आप लोग का नाम रहे हम सब का नाम रहे ऐसा एक ट्रस्ट बनाया जाए जिसमें हम सब हमेशा देखभाल करते रहेंगे और वो ट्रस्ट को चलाते रहेंगे उसमें और भी बहुत से गरीब बच्चे पढ़ेंगे लिखेंगे अपने टाइम टेबल से आएगा और जाएंगे
A day's activities that allowed the child to access their childhood, to play, to have a good time, and they did.
some of the most talented kids you'll ever find. They have a great spirit of adventure, of passion, a great zest for life and for freedom. And that's what makes them so special.
Many goals, many focuses, but at the moment the focus is that on education, literacy.
और क्या लिखूं रे? देख इतना लिखी हुई है। काका, बाबा, मामा, नाना, आई, कान, कान नहीं, काका, कान। चलो भैया
ये जूता मोजा
The material that's there, the children that are there are so fantastic. That gives you the spirit they have on the streets.
सुनो गौर से दुनिया वालों, बुरी नजर ना हम पे डालो, चाहे जितना जोर लगा लो, सबसे आगे होंगे हिंदुस्तानी। हमने कहा है, तुम भी कहो, हमने कहा है जो तुम भी कहो।
The children are happy. We try to give them as much of a home as we possibly can.
I think that the success of the center can be seen by the fact that we have a volunteer and we have a lot of children who are brought by other kids, and you know, they say, come, we know a place.
मुझे पता नहीं था वो ट्रेन कहाँ जाने वाली थी। मैं बैठ गई उसमें और बीटी स्टेशन पर पहुंची। वहाँ से फिर वो भी पता नहीं था मुझे, वो अलग ट्रेन में मैं बैठी और चन्नी रोड पहुंची। फिर मैं चन्नी रोड यहाँ वहाँ घूमती रही और फिर मुझे एक विजय नाम की एक लड़की थी वहाँ पर, उसके माँ पिताजी मुझे मिले और उन्होंने मुझे पूछा कि कहाँ से आई। मैंने बताया। फिर उन्होंने पूछा कि अगर तुझे सेंटर में कोई रहना है तो बता दे। तो मैंने कहा चलेगा।
We have a very committed staff, really committed, who work under very difficult circumstances.
बच्चों लोग यहाँ पलता है तो मुझे बहुत खुशी होती है, क्योंकि मेरे बच्चे भी खुद पढ़ते हैं।
इन मरीन स्टेशन।
कि एक्चुअली हम लोग तो पढ़े नहीं है, हम लोग दोनों चाहते हैं कि हमारे बच्चे पढ़े।
दुनिया के हर बच्चे, फुटपाथ हो या अमीर हो, गरीब हो, हर बच्चा पढ़ा लेके अपने दिमाग से अपने पैरों में खड़ा होना जरूरी है, सिखाना उनका जरूरी है।
Films can change people's perceptions to a certain degree, and I think Salaam Bombay did.
Film Salaam Bombay, the greatest service it has done in India particularly is that people have started thinking of what these street children are about.
Salaam Bombay has given a lot of impact, and that there were so many people started thinking there is a street children, there is a need to work for them.
CCVC has been in existence since 89. During 86 and 89 things happened on the streets.
Because that was the time there are many NGOs that started working on the street children.
हमारा ट्रस्ट का नाम बढ़े, जिंदगी भर रहे हमारे जैसा हजारों लाखों बच्चे इसके अंदर आ गए।
कोई दीदी पूछते बड़ा होके क्या बनना चाहते, पढ़ के मैं डॉक्टर बनना चाहता हूँ, वो ख्वाहिश उनका पूरा होएगा कि मैं कभी सोचता हूँ
आगे चल के उसको डॉक्टर बनने का उतना जितना उसको फी लगेगा वो फी हमारा ट्रस्ट दे सकेगा। हमारे और आपके जैसा ट्रस्ट ही ये काम कर सकता है।